me, Michelle, on the street lights on the corner. City vibes got a story. Feel the beat, don't ignore me.
Welcome into another episode of Talk to Me, Michelle. Of course, I am your host, Michelle, and that is with that one L. Everybody, I hope you guys are doing well, doing fine. I am just trying to take things in stride because life be lifing out here. And it brought me to a topic that I found very intriguing and that I am personally considering, and that's called a casual agreement. Okay, a casual agreement. So that's the type of an agreement that is a mutual understanding. You got two people who decide to engage in a connection that's less formal and typically involves limited emotional or long-term commitments. These arrangements often prioritize flexibility, independence, and physical or emotional connection without the traditional expectations of a romantic relationship. Now, this can also range from being purely physical,
just wanting and wanting and wanting, whoo, might make your head blow off.
or to more setups like, I need a companion for social events and stuff of that nature. Now, such agreements have become increasingly common as people explore the diversity in relationship options that fit their lifestyles and personal preferences. This could be due to busy schedules, you have a desire to focus more on your personal growth, or simply avoiding the complexities of traditional dating. These casual arrangements offer a space of connection that is defined by the individuals involved. Now, when it comes to this casual arrangement to work, you both need to have a mutual understanding. That is critical if you are going to get into this situation because both parties got to be on the same page about the nature and the boundaries of the relationship. Make sure you're clear because you don't want to have any misaligned expectations that can lead to confusion, frustration, or even emotional harm. And keep in mind that consent plays an essential role, not only in the physical interactions, but also in agreeing to the terms of the arrangement itself. And both individuals must feel comfortable and respected throughout the relationship. The main glue, and I mean this is the gorilla glue of the whole situation that keeps this casual arrangement, is going to be clarifying the boundaries, keeping open and ongoing communication, sharing feelings, addressing potential changes. Just talking honestly is going to ensure that both parties can navigate the arrangement without any misunderstandings or resentment. This episode is going to unpack the concept of casual agreements. It's going to shed some light on how we can work it out and the dynamics that might be involved. So we're going to be exploring the process of setting clear terms and expectations, establishing healthy boundaries to ensure the arrangement is both mutually beneficial, and practical advice for navigating the challenges that may arise. So ultimately, this episode is about helping you guys approach casual relationships with clarity, respect, and confidence in making these connections both fulfilling and drama-free. So first, let's break down what a casual agreement is. It is a mutually agreed upon connection between two people that is a non-traditional or typically lacks long-term emotional or romantic commitments. At its core, it's flexible, it's adaptable. That's usually getting your groove on, the physical intimacy. Maybe you want companionship or you want to have shared experiences. But this does not hold obligations of a traditional relationship. So what it is intentional, where both parties are aware of and they agree to the terms, is also flexible. That's going to allow the individuals to prioritize personal schedules and their preferences. And it's very defined, often centered around specific dynamics, whether it's physical, social, or both. But let me tell you what a casual agreement is not. It is not a traditional romantic relationship because it avoids all the emotional depth and exclusivity associated with dating. It's also not an undefined or one-sided situation. Even though it's casual, it still requires some clarity and balance to avoid misunderstandings. And it's definitely not a free-for-all. Casual does not mean careless, so the boundaries are there. The respect is also essential. So you may ask yourself, okay, if I'm making this agreement, why can't I just get a relationship? Let me tell you what the commitment is when it comes to casual agreements. They're typically to avoid any emotional or long-term commitments. That's focusing just on the present, where if you're in a traditional relationship, you involve deeper levels of commitment and shared future planning. Casual agreements can also mean it could be open or exclusive. That's based on what you two agree upon. But it's not going to be, oh, I automatically assume that we have this agreement that we're going to be exclusive. It does not include that whatsoever unless you make it known in that agreement. But in a traditional sense, it usually prioritizes exclusivity as its foundation. So there's different options when it comes to a casual agreement. You also got to look at the communication expectations, where a casual relationship may require clear communication right up front about the boundaries and terms, but not an ongoing emotional check-in. That's not going to be as frequent as you would find in a traditional relationship, because a traditional relationship often involves regular emotional engagement, discussions about growth and the future. And there's also a difference when it comes to the emotional depth, because the casual side of it, you aim to keep emotions lighter. You're not going to get too emotionally invested. Where traditional relationships, they encourage the emotional intimacy and a deeper connection. And some people may ask, okay, why would I even be bothered with a casual arrangement? Number one, it offers you some flexibility. You can focus on your career, your hobbies, whatever you have prioritized in your life, you can do without the time and the emotional investment in a traditional relationship that might be demanding. And you're also avoiding the commitment, because it's ideal for those who are not quite ready for a serious relationship, or maybe they're uninterested in a long-term responsibility of a serious relationship. Exploration also offers a way to explore the intimacy and connection with a low-pressure environment, especially for those who are newly single or you're experimenting with different relationship styles. You may want to try a casual situation before you make a serious commitment. And let's not forget the independent portion of it, because it allows individuals to maintain autonomy while still enjoying companionship or intimacy. And you can also get personal growth, because some casual arrangements can learn more about themselves, what you want in future relationships. So it's like taking a relationship on a test drive before you start taking on that monthly car note. Let's discuss the terms of the agreement, because that is super important. You want to establish certain things when it comes to a casual arrangement. Number one, are you going to be exclusive? You're going to be open, or you're going to be closed? So this matters because you need to understand whether that relationship is going to be monogamous or non-monogamous. So with the foundations already there, you ain't got to worry about any expectations for the trust and the alignment to take place. So make sure you point out if you're exclusive to each other in all aspects, or are we open to exploring connections with others? And if you are open, what are the boundaries that we need to respect? Another portion is determining the frequency and the nature of the interactions, and establishing how you connect in ways that assures that the relationship feels balanced and meet each other's needs. You need to address it, because you want to figure out how often we going to link up. We going to do this weekly, bi-weekly, what? Are there specific activities or settings that we want to prioritize? Like, do you want to go dates? Do you want to have shared hobbies? And how do you feel about physical intimacy? And does it align with your expectations as well as the person agreeing with you? And I'm going to give you a prime example, because I am negotiating an agreement myself, I must admit. But I need a certain setting when I, plan on interacting. And I want that house clean. I want the bed sheets clean. I need to smell some Downy. I need to have some flowers in the mix, maybe a bottle of something cold where I could just, pop a bottle and chill. That's what I need, all right? So those are going to be part of the agreement. Also, make sure you are clear on the expectations and the language of the agreement, because if you have precise terms, this is going to avoid any type of sensitivity issues like emotional involvement or like spending the night. Perfect example. Are there any actions that, you agree to avoid? No emotional affairs. Are you going to spend the night? And how will you communicate the changes in feelings or boundaries? So you get into this casual situation and you thought it was going to be one way, but you start catching feelings. You need to take a moment and discuss, maybe renegotiate. And what terminology best defines this relationship? Are we friends with benefits? Is that your booty friend? It's all type of titles that we have out here for these situations. It's important because you need to make sure these key benefits are discussed. The encouraging of the transparency and honesty is going to reduce the potential for conflict. the empowerment of both individuals to voice their needs and negotiate compromises, and create a sense of security and respect, enhancing the overall dynamic. When it comes to setting the boundaries in this casual situation, you want to prevent any confusion about the relationship's nature, because that's a critical aspect of this arrangement, of maintaining emotional clarity to avoid any misaligned expectations. So you need to establish these emotional boundaries so they can help both parties stay on the same page and prevent any misunderstandings in the near future. Just clearly state what the arrangement is. If it's going to be purely physical, well, we're going to clap cheeks every, once a month or something like that. It's going to be more than once a month for me.
Pop, go to Ouija, got a Ouija say pop.
You need to define the nature of the relationship early. Clearly state what it's going to be. Are we only linking up to clap cheeks? Are we going to go out for a coffee every now and then? The frequency, all that comes into play. But you also need to avoid the behaviors that blur the lines, because if you do activities that mimic traditional romantic relationships, like excessive texting, celebrating milestones, or over frequently meetups, that can lead to emotional confusion, because I see that, and I'm going to say men, y'all are famous for doing this. Y'all will link up with a woman, make the announcement, I don't want a relationship, I don't want nothing serious. But then you coming over, you getting sandwiches after we bone. This is more than, a casual situation, my friend. So you need to kind of pipe down on what you expect and what's on paper. And you need to periodically discuss the feelings to ensure that either party has developed unexpected emotional attachments that can complicate the arrangement. And just be honest, because if the feelings are beginning to change, address them. And be honest about it, because if you feel feelings starting to change, address them immediately rather than suppressing or acting on them in ways that could violate the agreement. Now, if you're going to have the physical link up with this casual arrangement, you want to have comfort levels and safety measures, because that's going to make both partners feel safe and enjoyable when you guys do link up. So you want to establish those comfort levels up front. I want to be specific about what it is and if it isn't acceptable in the terms of physical intimacy. You want to discuss if, like I said again, are you staying overnight? Do you have certain habits physically that I may not be into? So first and foremost, practice safe intimacy. Always prioritize consent and safety measures like contraceptives or other regular health checkups. And please, respect personal space, because some people may prefer not to integrate casual partners into their living spaces or daily routines. That's one thing you got to establish. Where is this going to take place at? And can I come over? And can I link up with you late night? Make it clear on what you want. And please have a safe word or clear signals, because if you get into the physical portion of it, these pre-aligned agreed cues that can help navigate situations where one party feels uncomfortable and the other one wants to pause. I know the go-to word is usually pineapples. Okay. I'm just waiting on somebody to say for it to be chitlins. Chitlins. Now, also, there is another tricky part of having a casual arrangement, because you want to decide, do you want to be discreet or do you want to share the arrangement with the public? Because social boundaries address how much the arrangement is shared with others and how another person navigates in their public or social life. So agree on whether the arrangement is going to be private or if it's okay to share its existence with your friends, your acquaintances, even mutual friends. Some people might like the privacy route because that's going to avoid any gossip or judgment. And discuss how you'll behave around others, because you'll appear as friends in, a public spot. Usually the chemistry, if y'all really into each other like that, you can act all you want. You can act all you want, but it's very obvious. And decide if social media interaction is part of that dynamic. If you want to tag somebody, we were hanging out just having coffee, even though we got this arrangement. Next thing I know, there's a picture of us at Starbucks and you didn't tag me in it. So you are pretty much making it obvious to the public. Maybe y'all friends, maybe y'all more than friends. And the standards and perks of a casual agreement can be both healthy and enjoyable. When approached with the right mindset and practices, you have a very healthy situation going on, because it can display some honesty, mutual respect, clear communication. And that matters because it creates a trust. It ensures that both parties feel safe and respected. Also, you have the freedom, because both parties can maintain their situation. It allows everybody to go ahead and pursue your personal goals on other relationships without guilt, if that's part of the arrangement. It also gives you freedom because both parties can maintain autonomy while allowing them to pursue personal goals or other relationships without guilt. And the exploration offers a chance to learn more about the preferences, both personally and relatively, in a low pressure environment. You don't have that high pressure like you would with a traditional relationship, because traditional relationships have expectations, interactions, and they are more relaxed and spontaneous when you're in a casual situation. There are some challenges, though, if you are going to come into this casual arrangement, because don't think that jealousy will not peep in. Because a casual, it doesn't mean emotion free. Feelings can develop unexpectedly. So if you see someone that you had a disagreement with, they're starting to develop some jealousy, acknowledge feelings rather than suppress them, and discuss the boundaries, whether they need to be adjusted or if the arrangement is still right for both parties. There might be a time where you may have to renegotiate. Misaligned expectations. It happens because one person might develop those deep feelings and expect more than we agreed upon. So just set the expectations early, revisit them as needed, and be honest about the changes in feelings or goals and adjust the agreement accordingly. Now, if you have a lack of clarity, you have to be clear about the roles, the intentions. That will lead to confusion and frustration if you don't. So please use clear language, define the nature of the arrangement, and agree on specific boundaries. How often are you guys going to communicate? Any involvement with other people, all needs to be covered in that agreement. Now, casual agreements can have signs that things may not be working out, because you may have one person that is consistently making an effort. They're making plans, they're communicating, and they're making sacrifices. And the other person involved lacks the balance and the mutual investment of the arrangement. I don't like one-sided effort. It shouldn't just be on one person all the time to, make something happen. Both parties need to be involved with that. And a lack of respect, because if the boundaries are not honored, if one party feels like they've been dismissed by the other's needs or feelings, and the disrespectful behavior, like if you make plans and you cancel these plans last minute, you're going to piss me off. I'm telling you, you're going to piss me off. And let's say you had an opportunity to give me heads up way before it happened, and you didn't communicate honestly. You didn't take the consideration like, okay, I set aside a time for you, and you just blew me off. That's going to put a whole funky mode on the whole situation. Now, do you have unclear or misaligned expectations in this situation? Again, if a person starts wanting more or maybe even less from the arrangement that was originally agreed upon without discussion, that's creating confusion. You're going to piss me off again. I'm getting frustrated. And then there's going to start to be feelings of neglect. The emotional or physical discomfort of the situation, where one or both parties feel uneasy, stressed. They rather hurt rather than enjoy the dynamic. That could stem from jealousy, unmet needs, and lack of clarity. So if you guys don't have the maturity to have a conversation or renegotiate, the situation is not going to work. Please do not participate in avoidance or dishonesty, because avoiding difficult situations or being dishonest about your intentions, actions, or feelings, it undermines the trust of the situation or the foundation of the agreement, or both. So let's go ahead and renegotiate if stuff starts to switch up, like the changing of feelings or the incomparable goals, like the life circumstances or the priorities change, and discuss whether the arrangement still needs to align with both parties' needs. But a casual situation should not include all these ongoing disagreements, the unmet expectations, the negative emotions that signal the arrangement is no longer enjoyable. That was the point of you even making the arrangement. You're supposed to enjoy the situation you guys have created with each other. But if you're feeling drained or unhappy, it looks like it's going to be a little bit more work than it's going to be fun. If it's causing more emotional stress, it's a sign it's not working out. So I would rather prioritize my well-being and evaluate whether I need to continue to let this agreement go if it's not serving me positively. And let's ring the alarm on breached boundaries. This is a repeated disregard for agreed upon rules or a disrespect for the personal boundaries. It indicates a fundamental lack of compatibility or trust. Now, if you do need to end the agreement, just be honest. Communicate openly about what's not working and why. And also, just show respect when you're doing it, because you need to acknowledge the positive aspects of the arrangement and express the gratitude for the connection. And be decisive. If you're going to end this agreement, be clear, be firm, while remaining considerate of the other person's feelings. I've always said it's always about how you bring a message to somebody on how they intake it. If they get dramatic, that's on them. But if you are respectful and you're trying to be honest with a person, they should be able to listen and understand why, or make those arrangements. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can have an exclusive situation being casual, or do you want to have an open dialogue? So if you are in agreement, both parties, they're interested in continuing with new terms of the arrangement, they clarify their expectations and agree on the boundaries to protect the relationship and each other's well-being. So if you feel like you need to end it, the feelings are unreciprocated, or the arrangement is no longer fulfilling, it's better to just go ahead and end it all. Just do it respectfully and communicate honestly about why the dynamic is no longer working and why parting ways should be the best decision for both of you. And when you're trying to end something, you want to have a certain dialogue when you approach it. You want to use a neutral, private setting to discuss feelings. I don't think you should go to Starbucks to have this conversation, and speak your perspective. Using these statements like I feel. When you put yourself in the mix and stop pointing the finger at everybody else, it doesn't have such a guilt complex factor on them. They basically say, okay, they're basically putting themselves in this boat as well. So I feel, rather than you make me feel. Be empathetic and willing to listen, even if the conversation doesn't lead to the desired outcome. So there's an outcome of possibilities when you do either of these things. When you're trying to end the arrangement, it could be mutual. Both parties decide to adjust the terms and explore a new dynamic, or the one-sided feelings. If the feelings are unreciprocated, the arrangement may end or continue to reaffirm boundaries. Also, growth opportunity, because regardless of the outcome, addressing feelings can help both parties feel emotionally relatable, respectful. So navigating feelings with honesty, empathy, and respect ensures the situation is handled maturely, minimizing harm and maximizing the potential for a positive resolution. That's going to do it for this episode of Talk to Me, Michelle. I appreciate everybody tuning in and listening. And I want to say I tackled the ins and outs of casual agreements. I explored what makes them healthy and enjoyable, the perks they can offer, and the challenges that you have to face if you're going to be in that situation. That's going to do it for this episode. I appreciate everybody tuning into this episode, and I hope you guys found some great tips on these casual agreements, tackling the ins and outs of them, exploring what makes them healthy and enjoyable, the perks they can offer, and the challenges you may have to face if you're in a casual arrangement. And I also touched on some crucial signs that it may be time to let it go. At the heart of it all, honestly, mutual respect and clear communication are key. Whether you're exploring freedom or flexibility or navigating the complexities of shifting emotions, having those open conversations ensures everyone's needs are understood and respected. So again, thanks again, guys. If you have not subscribed, I hope you do hit that subscription button, and please leave me a review on wherever you listen to your podcast. If you enjoyed my podcast, please go visit the MBG Podcast Network, where we have got an array of podcasts that will fit your needs, and other Black podcasters that are continuing to spread Black excellence. But if you want to support this podcast, you can do so by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Talk to Me Michelle with 1 L. Merch is over there. You need a coffee mug, I got you. You need a notepad, I got you. And you can also make a contribution if you are enjoying the content. You can follow me on social media. It's all the same handle. Talk to Me Michelle on everything. I'm always pushing all my social media so you guys can follow and interact. And I would love to hear your feedback on this topic. So until next time, everybody, peace.